As you probably know, children don't feel the cold. In fact, they radiate heat like little nuclear reactors. And Roman Catholics, I understand, heat their homes with them. Unfortunately though, as we get older, the reactor slows down and we need more and more heat to stay warm. First you find yourself turning up the central heating, then you start sitting a bit closer to the fire, then a bit closer, then closer still, until you reach Granny's age, when outside July and August you live in a state of permafrost and need to be rotated on a spit above the fire just to stay alive. The other day I stumbled on the answer. It's heated clothing, and I went and bought a gilet from a company called Ororo. By the way, if you enjoy this and would like more reviews of gadgets and tech, do press the subscribe button below. Now, Ororo is probably not a brand you want to rush out and buy if you suffer from deroticization. Like Jonathan Wass. You wouldn't want to be standing there in the wind and the wane with people endlessly asking you, "Whoa, that's a heated jacket? Who's it made by?" That aside, this thing has been a total revelation. Heated clothing now comes in various shapes and sizes. I decided to buy a gilet for a couple of reasons. First, I didn't think it's really cold enough, often enough in this country, to need a full-on heated jacket. It would probably just sit in a cupboard unused for most of the year. Secondly, with the exception of Ralph Lauren's £800 thing, heated jackets are not what you would call fashion items. They're more utilitarian. So I wanted something I could wear under my normal coat. And here it is. It's a very unremarkable puffer-like thing. The only difference is that it comes with a battery. Now, before I bought this thing, I'd have thought that to power a heated jacket, I'd probably have to walk around the village pushing a supermarket trolley full of car batteries. Thankfully not. This thing weighs in at only about 250 grams, so you really don't notice it. Now, to fire this thing up, first of all, you have to plug the battery into the lead that comes out of the jacket, then pop it in the battery pocket there, then you press the button on the front which lights up like you're on the Starship Enterprise, and very quickly things start warming up. There are 3 heat settings. There's red for hot, obviously, then there's white for medium, then blue for low. Now by default, the jacket starts on hot and then flashes red. Then it automatically switches to warm after about 5 minutes. There are 3 heating zones, one around the neck here, one across the back of the shoulders, and one at the front, which heats the pockets. Oh, and there's a USB port on the side of the battery that you can plug your telephone into if it runs out of battery. I have to say, this thing makes a huge difference. The neck is the most noticeable, followed by the back and then the stomach. In fact, I found that when going out for a brisk walk when it's freezing outside, I actually have to switch it off after about 30 minutes or I get too warm. The other thing I notice is that this also helps keep my extremities warm too, because when your core is warm, the veins in your hands and feet dilate, allowing more blood to flow. The battery life is impressive too, given how much heat this thing chucks out. Ororo says you can have 3 hours at full blast, 6 on the medium setting, and 10 at the lowest. As something to keep you warm when it's cold outside, the Ororo works really well, and I can see it being particularly useful for anyone who has to spend any time stationary in the cold. People who go shooting, for example, or skiing when you stop for a drink halfway down the mountain, or just when you're waiting at the bus stop. But why stop there? This could be a much better way to keep Granny warm between September and June. Instead of heating a whole house to the same temperature as a small star and requiring visitors to wear one of those Bacofoil heat-resistant suits, why not use one of these and heat Granny instead? A word of caution about that though. It does say on the instructions that these should not be worn by people with poor circulation who are insensitive to heat. I guess the risk is that they'll end up being overcooked. You really want to aim for al dente. Now, there was only one thing I was a little bit disappointed with about the Ororo. It is an American company based in the Midwest, where they're pretty familiar with the cold. And I really bought into that whole Midwest lumberjack lifestyle thing, choosing it over the raft of cheaper Chinese knockoffs on Amazon. And then my Ororo arrived on a plane from China. Oh well, the delivery was impressively quick. It arrived in just 5 days, and I use it all the time now. If you know anyone who feels the cold, you might like to share this video with them. Otherwise, till the next time, I've been Alia Guthrie. Bye-bye.